2 years ago, I took School of Motion's course Unreal Engine for 3D Artists with Jonathan Winbush.
What up?
I've made some cool stuff since then, including a short film called Metal Heart. And as I've learned more and more and gotten better and better, I've pushed Unreal harder and harder. But eventually, I hit a technical wall. I'm on a computer that I've had now for over 4 years, and that wasn't built for what I'm doing right now, which is creating high-end, highly detailed, real-time cinematics with visual effects. So, it's time for an upgrade. Strap in, because today, with a little help from our friends, we're building the ultimate Unreal Engine Workstation. Hey, Aaron Rabinowitz here for School of Motion. 6 years ago, we worked with Puget Systems to build the fastest After Effects computer in the world. So we thought it would be fun to go back and ask them for help in building a machine for Unreal Engine. Our mission was to find the answer to the questions: if money was no object and we had the most knowledgeable 3D PC building experts in the world, what would the ultimate Unreal Engine workstation look like? What components would go into it, and which ones matter the most? And finally, how much would it cost? True story. Years ago, when I wanted to make the switch from Mac to PC, I asked the internet, as a 3D artist, where should I go for a custom-built animation-focused PC? Everyone told me Puget Systems. But who are these guys?
Puget Systems builds workstations, servers, and storage for people that are pushing the boundaries of the creative industry. So we started almost 25 years ago now in a garage, your typical tech startup story. And in the beginning, it was all about customization. People would come to us and they'd tell us what they want, and we'd build it, even if that was a mineral oil PC. But over time, we realized that what people want isn't always what they need. So we sought out to better understand how the software interacts with the hardware. That way we can make better recommendations based upon what they actually need to accomplish their work.
Our mission is really to help people to know what kind of hardware they should be buying. In some industries, that's pretty simple. You have something like Photoshop. It's pretty straightforward in what you need. And now we have new ones coming out of like Unreal Engine, where in the past it was game dev, and that was complicated enough in and of itself. Now Unreal Engine is being used not just for game dev, it's being used for virtual production, it's being used for motion graphics, for VFX. And so all of those different kinds of industries and those different kinds of workflows, they may use the same software, but in very different ways. And so there is a lot of confusion around Unreal Engine. There's a lot of unknowns, there's a lot of misinformation. And so we really try to focus on those ones where there's a lack of good information. And we come in and we do testing. We try to be really scientific about it and thorough about it so that we can answer those questions. But our benchmarks are really designed for video editors, motion graphics artists, game devs. And so all of the testing that we do, all of the scores that come out of it, should reflect what people would actually see in the real world.
Ultimately, you can get this hardware anywhere. So what really sets Puget Systems apart is our actual understanding and hands-on with software packages like Unreal Engine and After Effects. And when you have issues, to be able to call us up and we can actually speak to whether or not that issue is a software issue, whether it's a hardware issue or a workflow issue. We have that experience.
Okay, so these guys know their tech and they understand the work that I do. So let's talk about the hardware. To really make a good decision about where to put your money when building a PC for Unreal, you need to understand each of the components and how they impact the work that you're doing.
Unreal Engine has a lot of different workflows that have different hardware needs. For example, an environment artist might be working with procedural content generation, which is very CPU-based, though there's still some GPU stuff coming out. Someone in virtual production on an LED wall is going to have much different requirements than a 3D modeler. In Unreal Engine, the GPU does the bulk of the work. In addition to rendering the textures and the geometry, you can also use it for Niagara, for PCG, and for light mask baking. Unreal Engine supports all major brands of GPUs, from NVIDIA to AMD or Intel. Currently, NVIDIA is our default recommendation because it has a better performance, especially when it comes to things like hardware ray tracing. VRAM is important in Unreal Engine for a few different reasons. One is the more textures, the more materials, the more geometry you have, that all goes into the VRAM and is stored there. So the more complex the scene, the more VRAM that you're going to need. As well as you increase the resolution that you're rendering at, that also increases how much VRAM is being used. In Unreal Engine, the CPU is in charge of a lot of the development process before runtime, things like loading projects, importing assets, baking lighting, procedural content generation are all handled by the CPU. A lot of tasks in Unreal Engine are multi-threaded using multiple CPU cores. So some people tend to want to go to a professional CPU that has a lot of cores, but not everybody needs that many cores, so it can be a balancing act to choose which CPU you need. RAM is like storage for your applications. The more applications you have open, the more RAM you're going to need. By itself, Unreal Engine uses 32 to 64, but almost every artist working in Unreal Engine is going to have Unreal Engine plus Substance plus the 3D modeling app plus a bunch of other stuff open. So then you're going to need 64 to 128 gigs of RAM. For hard drives, you want a super fast drive for your operating system and for your applications. Then we also recommend you do a second drive for your project files to keep those separate. For your large asset libraries and files that you aren't actively working on, I would store those on a larger drive. And then as you import them into Unreal Engine, it'll automatically copy them over into your working drive.
So with that knowledge, we spec'd out our ultimate Unreal Engine workstation and the team got to work on assembling it. While we waited for it to all come together, we got a full tour of the newly upgraded Puget Systems facilities. We watched them assembling computers and stress testing each component, even using thermal imaging to measure heat output on each unit to make sure it was within tolerance. It's kind of like if the Predator was working in quality assurance. As a last step, some cosmetic touches were added. And finally, School of Motion's machine was ready to go. This is Beast, the ultimate Unreal Engine workstation. Here's what's inside. It's got a 32-core CPU, 128 gigabytes of RAM, an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5090 video card, and 3 NVMe drives for the OS, program files, working projects, and asset storage. In addition, a PCI card was added for extra USB ports. Total cost, $11,719.30. But does all that computing power matter? And does great power come with great responsibility? And does absolute power corrupt? Absolutely. Well, we're not going to answer those last two questions, but we will find out what this machine can do. Once we successfully peeled off the wrapper, sort of, we got to work. We threw everything we could at this beast. We tested some real-time motion design with cloners and text animators. We added in an insane amount of 3D particles.
I like how there's a folder called balls.
Yeah, because I heard you like balls.
Yeah.
So, we took a trip into Ethereum Design's alien seas with literally thousands of AI-driven fish. We brought some metahumans to life. Stick your tongue out, dude. Like. We blew some shit up with chaos destruction and high-resolution VDBs from the Pixel Lab. We used the Dash tools to play with real-time physics and to build a highly detailed forest in just a few minutes. Dinosaur not included. We flew through the skies with beautiful volumetrics, and we pushed the boundaries of real-time fluid simulations with Jenga FX LiquidGen. The computer handled everything without any slowdowns. Yeah, there it is.
What?
Yep, look at this, man.
Really?
Yep, here, hang on.
So that's real time?
That's real time. This is all happening right now. All of these balls.
That's a lot of balls.
So many balls. Now, this machine is obviously overkill for a normal user and certainly for someone just jumping into Unreal, and that price tag probably feels high. So at the end of the day, when you have to make hard choices, where do you prioritize your budget on components?
When you're building a system, you're looking where to prioritize your budget. I always recommend the GPU first because that is going to do the bulk of the work for Unreal Engine. Beyond that, the thing that I see the most people neglect is their RAM. Too many people don't have enough RAM for Unreal Engine's workflows. Comparatively, RAM's not very expensive, so it's an easy upgrade for most people. The CPU does help in some specific tasks, but a lot of people don't face those tasks very often, like compiling shaders. Some people will see that daily, some people will see that once a week, once every couple of weeks. So investing in an expensive CPU isn't going to help out a lot. For hard drives, the most important thing is just having enough space to do your work. You can invest in larger storage if you need to, but as long as you have enough for your projects, you're going to be okay.
So with all of that in mind, if I were going to build a more practical machine for cinematics in Unreal Engine, it would probably look something like this. A 24-core CPU, 96 gigabytes of RAM, an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5080, and 2 NVMe hard drives, one for your OS and one for your working files. Total cost, $6,217.38. And if you can really push your budget, get the RTX 5090, but that would bring this closer to about $8,000. You could also push to go to 128 gigabytes of RAM, maybe trading in one of the NVMe hard drives for that. By the way, in addition to the standard video cards most people are familiar with, NVIDIA also makes specialized Pro Blackwell cards. This is a video card used by the big studios.
The Pro Blackwell cards are used in Unreal Engine for LED volumes, like when they filmed The Mandalorian and a bunch of other movie projects where they need the VRAM capacity and access to NVIDIA's sync capability to synchronize multiple nodes together along with the LED wall. For most people, you don't need some of those features, so the GeForce is going to be good for you.
Blackwell Pro cards come in at a price tag of around $7,000 each, so not something for the average user, but it's good to understand what the hardware looks like as you move into feature film and other big budget productions. Okay, now that this machine is built, we're not just going to let it sit around and gather dust. I'm going to really put it through its paces by creating several animated shorts with big detailed environments and some crazy visual effects, which will release right around the same time as this video. So read the show notes below for more information on that. So here's what we've learned. If you're building a PC for working primarily in Unreal Engine, above all, get the best video card that you can afford. It has the most impact. You need at least 32 to 64 gigabytes of RAM for Unreal. If you plan to have other applications open at the same time, which really we all do, stretch a little for some extra RAM and you will thank yourself later. If you're going to be taxing your CPU with physics simulations, landscape editing, or PCG, a good CPU is critical, but you don't need top of the line. And outside of your main hard drive, you can slack a little and focus on space over speed. And if you don't want to build it yourself, and you want to work with folks who really get you and what you do, talk to our friends at Puget Systems. They'll help you out. Special thanks to director Mike Pecci and videographer Chris Shreve, who made this video look like a beautiful 80s retrowave fever dream. I actually learned a ton about lighting and practical effects on the shoot working with them. And thanks to all of you for watching it. As always, I hope that it helps you in your work. Once again, I'm Aaron Rabinowitz for School of Motion. See you in the next one.